Okay, so with Bleach Rebirth of Souls releasing in a few weeks, well, not a few weeks, but you know, releasing March 21st, and we already know that we have Thousand Year Blood War confirmed as the DLC, we gotta make our predictions for what we think the DLC is going to be, man. So that's what we're gonna be doing in today's video, man. But today's anime question is going to be, who is on your wish list for the 4 DLC characters that we'll be getting from the Thousand Year Blood War, man? Let me know in the comments. I want to see y'all's predictions and stuff like that. And if there's something you might be interested in, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell, do all those nice things. And if you want to see more anime game content, make sure to join the Discord pinned in the description. And after you hear my predictions, if you don't agree with it, let me know in the comments why you don't actually agree with me, man. But let's go ahead and hop straight into these predictions. Okay, so before we get into predictions, like we said in one of our previous videos that I kind of thought was a hot take, but I actually had somebody agree with me. I think that also, like, so if you didn't know, along with the pre-order and stuff like that, you also get some special costumes, and some of these costumes are Thousand Year Blood War outfits. And what my prediction was, if we're getting a Thousand Year Blood War outfit for a character, I don't think we're going to be getting them as a DLC, because otherwise, why would they release the skin early when they could have just saved it for when the character actually releases? Now, of course, you can't do color variants and stuff like that, and I know that might be an argument, but that's what I'm going with. So this is already going to be ruling out characters like Yoruichi, Hitsugaya, Byakuya, and also Rangiku, since we saw that they have alternate outfits for Thousand Year Blood War that are going to be part of the pre-order. Now, when we get into our predictions, we're going to have 2 different types of predictions. We're going to have our realistic DLC predictions, which is, you know, what I think will actually probably happen, and then we have our wish list, which is who we want to come, but, you know, I don't know if that's going to happen. So the realistic DLC prediction, the first one is going to be Ichigo, Thousand Year Blood War. Now, I don't think this is going to be his true Shikai form, though, just because of how this game works. You have to have some type of evolution, or at least some type of power up to go into another form, and we haven't seen Ichigo's true Bankai on anime screen yet, which, you know, without spoiling anything, we haven't seen that. So I do think this is going to be Ichigo right at the beginning of the Thousand Year Blood War, before he actually gets defeated by Yhwach. I think this is basically kind of like a little bit of a transition from the Fullbring arc before, you know, we actually start going to the Thousand Year Blood War. So the very beginning of Thousand Year Blood War, that's the form of Ichigo that I believe we'll get. And I think he'll have some pretty interesting abilities, and I think we'll also get to see some stronger versions of some of the moves that we saw from the previous versions of Ichigo in this game. The next character, I think we're going to get Yhwach. I was a little bit skeptical about this because, considering how big of a villain Aizen was in Bleach, they only gave him one form, and it doesn't even have his final Hokuku form where he's like fully transformed, and it had me wondering if they would just try to do Yhwach in one take whenever they wait to the end of the anime. But I do think there is a way that they could do Yhwach early, and I think this would be the early version of Thousand Year Blood War Yhwach before his eyes are actually open, you know, where he's still limited with the abilities that he can do. I think they can throw this version in there and have him have some moves, maybe some types of awakenings and stuff like that, because he does portray some abilities that could be implemented into this game that could, you know, act like an awakening. But let me know, do you think that Yhwach makes it, or do you think I might be onto something with the sense that since they made one Aizen, maybe they might only make one Yhwach and just wait until the end of the actual Bleach anime to actually put him in the game. The next character is going to be one that probably a lot of people have been predicting, and it's going to be Unohana, and I think we'll finally get her full true form without saying anything or spoiling anything. If you haven't seen it yet, but, you know, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I think we will get Unohana, and I think we'll get to see her true fully abilities, and I think she'll have some abilities that allow her to heal and some things like that, but also some damage dealing things, as we do know that she can deal some damage. So I think it'd be pretty cool to get her in this game, and I do think that they actually have a way to add her now that they're doing the Thousand Year Blood War DLC, because I didn't think she was going to make the base Bleach Rebirth of Souls roster if they didn't do Thousand Year Blood War, just because we didn't see a whole lot of combat for her. She was mainly there for healing. The next character is a little bit of a toss-up, and some of y'all might disagree with me, and I think this one is either going to be Rukia, yes, Rukia, because we did get to see her actual Bankai in Thousand Year Blood War. We could get Rukia, or you could also switch this out for like any of the Quincy's that got a whole lot of screen time. So you could say Baz B, you also could say As Not, or you could say Bambi. I feel like any of these ones are a little bit of a toss-up, but Rukia would be a little bit of a wild card. I know some people don't really want another Ichigo or another Rukia. They'd prefer to get new characters, but I feel like it's almost guaranteed that they give us another Ichigo, just because, you know, it's so easy to do. If they don't give us another Ichigo, I'd be highly surprised, but I'd also, you know, be appreciative of the fact that they're giving us new characters. But let me know how y'all feel about my predictions. So, you know, for my actual accurate predictions, that fourth one is a little bit of a toss-up, but if I had to pick one, it would either be Rukia, and if I wanted to request one out of those 4, I definitely want As Not. And now we're going to get into the wish list, and if I pronounced anybody's names, I apologize. I'm not sure if I pronounce As Not right. Let me know in the comments if I actually pronounce his name wrong, or is it As Node. But the wish wish list for the characters that I actually would like to get, but I don't think they're actually going to be added to the game. The first one is going to be Askin Naklivar, and I think I just really like his abilities. If you don't know, this guy is like basically one of the protectors of Yhwach, basically one of his royal guards, and I do think he has a pretty interesting ability, and I think that he'd add some very nice gimmicks to the game, but I don't think we'll get him. I think it's a little bit too early to add him. My next wish list would be Yamamoto, Captain Yamamoto in the 1000-Year Blood War, because we actually do get to see his full extent of his abilities with his bankais and things like that, but this would be a reskin, and I don't know if they'd maybe throw this in this early, but maybe they could, since this was all wrapped up in the first season of Bleach 1000-Year Blood War. The third wishlist character would be Ichibe. Like I said, I also think it just might be a little bit too early to add this character, even though he'd be very hype, and I definitely would like to see with his abilities how they would actually translate to the game, since they're being so creative with things. And the last one on the wishlist is actually a character that I put in my normal prediction, which is Unohana. I'd be very surprised if Unohana didn't come to the game, but let me know in the comments how y'all actually felt about my predictions for the characters that I actually think are going to be part of the DLC, and the ones that I put on my wish list. There are some other characters that there's so many things that they could do with the 1000-Year Blood War, and I do think we'll get some of the royal guards and some of these other characters and some more Quincy's and stuff in the future, but I do think that this first one is maybe to test the waters, to see how people like the DLC, see how the game performs, and if things go well, I do think we'll get some extra passes and stuff like that, and that's when we'll get to see some of these other forms like Ichigo, True Shikai, and stuff like that. But let me know in the comments if you disagree with my predictions, and if you do, put yours down there and I'll react to them and stuff like that, man. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell, do all those things, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next video, man. We out.